Konnichiwa, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about, well, optimism or pessimism. Preseno Master Shimasho. This is the 5th year of the Presentation Japan Series podcast. We're beaming around the world to you from sunny Minato-ku here in Tokyo. And I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, the president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. And I have a new book in Japanese called Zaegyo. And also, very shortly, you'll be able to get hold of my new book, which is called Stop Wasting Money on Training. Through this podcast, I want to help you become a better speaker who is clear, confident, persuasive, and highly influential with those around you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn, who, unlike many other podcast hosts, have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on iTunes. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Tuesdays, the Presentations Japan Series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan Series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan Series. Every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show, and Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. This is episode number 305. Today we're talking about, is the Japanese business glass permanently half empty? Many years ago, my job was to help Australian companies crack the Japanese market. One of the elements of that job was explaining the Japanese business psyche to the Australian business people targeting Nippon. As you might imagine, this wasn't an easy task as the mindsets are so different. White colonisation of Australia started in the late 1700s, and the first convicts and settlers arrived into a vast continent without one permanent structure, bridge, road or port. Aboriginal life was nomadic. Hunt everything you can in the area around you, then pack everything up and move to the next location. You didn't need modern infrastructure for that lifestyle. The consequence has been that the culture built up amongst the early English settlers was very much one of can-do and optimism that they could tame the heat, drought, fires, cyclones and floods that are part and parcel of life in Australia. 6 generations ago, my ancestors hacked their way through the bush by hand to create fields for agriculture and to feed the sheep and cattle. If you couldn't take it, you could always go back to Mother England. Japan is also a country with no shortage of natural calamities. Earthquakes trigger fires in cities, and wooden houses burn quickly. They also trigger tsunami, and these can wipe out entire towns, as we have seen in 2011. Typhoons and floods destroy crops and buildings. Floods and landslides are common. My super wealthy, famous Japanese friend was walking his dog after heavy rain, and a wall suddenly collapsed and killed him. Japan has volcanoes as well, and recently the well-known Sakurajima volcano has had a major eruption. This tough environment is part and parcel of Japan, and there is no Mother England to retreat to. This is it for the Japanese population. The mindset of the Japanese, in my experience, is one of the glass is half empty and life is difficult. When I was trying to explain the different attitude between the Aussie glass half full and the Japanese glass half empty approach, I found a useful comparison. I discovered a graph showing the degrees of business optimism in Australia spread over many years. Fundamentally, the Aussies were positive and optimistic. Japan has regular Tankan surveys of business optimism, and fundamentally, the Japanese scores are usually negative or very low in terms of positivity. When you compare the graphs, the results are strikingly different. Historically, when a person working the land in Australia needed to replace an implement, there would be a 6-month turnaround as a sailing ship went off to merry old England, then sailed back with a replacement. In the interim, people became innovative and flexible about finding a solution. It created a can-do mindset because there was no choice. So having these problem-solving, positive, can-do Aussies convincing Japanese buyers to start relying on them was a huge job. I would show them the graph of how basically for the Japanese the glass is always half empty, and so the Aussies should curb their enthusiasm and approach the sale in a different way. Find out more when we come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public programs, but we also do custom-made in-house classes. Now, we do them in our super safe classroom, we do them live online, and we do them in Japanese, and we do them in English. Today's show is being brought to you by, on the 6th of September, we're having our Confident English program. This is to help Japanese who work in foreign multinational companies where they need to use English, but they're shy to use their English in meetings with VIPs or on Zoom calls with foreign colleagues because they worry about their English is not good enough. Companies send them off to English language lessons, but they're still not confident, so they don't speak. They're very quiet, have very little presence in the meeting. So to fix that, we created this program. It only exists in Japan. And we give them the confidence. They have enough vocab, they have enough grammar, they can do it. They just lack the confidence. We give them that confidence. Also on the 6th of September, we're doing our next set of our previews for our coming courses. On the 9th of September, we're doing leadership training for managers. Now, most leaders in Japan are actually not leaders at all. They're actually managers. And they don't actually know what leading is all about. And that's simply because they've never been trained. Their bosses were managers, and their bosses' bosses were managers. And, it just goes right back to post-war period. It's always been like that. So what is the leader? What is a manager? We go through that. What is the difference? What does a leader need to do that a manager's not doing? And this program is really the nuts and bolts of leading a company in Japan. It's how you do the planning, innovating, handling mistakes, coaching, communication, performance reviews. All the nitty-gritty practical stuff you need as a leader in Japan is in this program. Excellent course. On the 14th of October, 14th of October, we're doing Winning with Relationship Selling. This is our flagship sales program. This is everything you need to know about selling. The whole sales cycle is there. We add in the Dale Carnegie principles, human relations principles, to build that relationship of trust, become the trusted advisor, become the partner with the company. And we're looking for the reorder. We're not just looking for the one sale. So we need to have a lifetime relationship with this customer, client. And that's what this course helps you to do. Fantastic program. Check out our website at www.dale, D-A-L-E, hyphen, Carnegie, C-A-R-N-E-G-I-E, .co.jp. Lots and lots of value for you there. Now, to do better in Japan, email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, that's the Bible for selling in Japan, and Japan Business Mastery, and my new book, Japan Presentations Mastery. If you like learning by watching videos, there are over 1,000 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, which is the premier business show in Japan, comes out Mondays. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show, and Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews for our interview leaders in Japan, from SMEs all the way up to the corporate captains of industry, on one topic: leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. Don't forget, you can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. This is a generalization. It doesn't make it any less true, but Australia is a country of creating things out of nothing and finding solutions. And Japan is one of caution. Once you understand the Japanese are not expecting anything spectacular to happen and are more concerned about things going horribly wrong, then you focus on reducing risk rather than trumpeting your capability and your successes. This is where track record, data, and smarts about doing business in Japan come in. Japan is a graveyard for MVP, minimum viable product launches. The product has to work extremely well with no defects or problems. If it has any of these issues, the situation becomes problematic very quickly. Similarly, early adopters in business are a small crowd here. Basically, in business, nobody wants to go first. You trial it. We will watch very, very carefully. If it doesn't blow up, we may take a look at it. Is the usual ethos. Note the word may, because even if it goes well, they may not take any action. You don't get into trouble in a Japanese company for not being a pathfinder. Steady as she goes is preferred to anything smacking of risk-taking. When things go wrong in Australia, then the supplier gets to work to fix it, and if some money needs to change hands as a result, then it gets done and everyone moves forward. In Japan, you have to fix it, but that isn't where it ends. You have to head around there to apologize in person, bearing gifts, and expect to be lambasted for your poor reliability and shoddy work. You also have to have forensic detail concerning why this problem occurred in the first place, and a detailed, clear plan of making sure it never happens again. Even then, you may be removed as a supplier, especially so if you are not genuinely contrite and authentic in your remorse for having caused the buyer problems. Never forget, your buyer has their own buyers. If your problem got shared with their part of the food chain, then you have endangered their trust with their own clients. This is the most disgraceful and egregious error you can make for any Japanese company who values their reputation, and they all value their reputation. Approach the deal with a solid understanding the Japanese side isn't going to get excited about your widget and that they are world champion skeptics. Emphasize the track record, safeguards, measurement systems, quality control, and the worst-case scenario plan of action. Expect to start small in order to prove what you say is true. Keep in mind that apart from you, no one is in a hurry to do the deal, and so adjust your expectations accordingly. Thank you for joining the Presentations Japan series. If you got value from today's show, spread the love around and share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Immediately apply what you have learned today, use it, and go out there and become a presentations legend. Remember, I'm your corporate coaching and training guy in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.